Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on a journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney
And Kelly. Hey, Sydney.
Hey, Mom.
Happy one-year anniversary.
Woo! I think this episode's coming out on maybe the 28th, something like that. And I guess it's technically the 30th. But this is the week that we started our podcast 1 year ago.
Made it a year.
Every week we put out an episode.
Every week.
That's pretty.
It's been fun.
It has been.
We did experiences and we got some fun ones coming up. We
Yep.
had some interviews and we got some more coming up. We've got another book interview coming up and we've got some more other people that we're going to be bringing in to do some interviews. It's exciting.
And it could be good. Maybe we'll bring back some from last year.
Yeah, I think I've got that in the plans. Yeah. So
it's like, I mean, we plan some, which is good. Like we try and have each month we plan. But I mean, we started it and we're just like, okay, these are some topics we'll hit on. And then we just kind of started going, which is good.
It kind of rolls.
And it kind of starts to roll. Yeah. And then, of course, there are months where you're like, what are we going to do?
Right? Yeah.
But we've
made it. Yeah, I think the surprise is that I made it.
I know. I know. The person that doesn't move often.
Long-term commitments.
Long-term, you don't do that.
Other than my marriage.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But
tends to be,
but this has been fun. I'm having a good time doing it. And I look forward to this next year.
Yeah, and hopefully, we have some pretty consistent listeners, so hopefully it'll just kind of keep growing, and certain episodes have done really well. So I'm hoping that, we can kind of keep hitting on those. But of course this is mostly for us.
It's just a good time. So
it's a good time.
Yeah.
And if it impacts
I'm glad
others,
those listeners are coming along with us.
Yes, if you've stuck with us for this whole year, or even if you've just joined, we're very happy. We appreciate it.
We'll be around.
Yes, and we'll be around for the next year. You know it.
Yes.
Yes. And so kind of this week includes our month of January, where it's like trying to set our listeners up for the year. And so, we talked about self-love and how you got to start there. Yeah. Talked about forgiving yourself so then you can start to move forward with this new year. And then we talked about motivation to keep it going through the year. Yeah. And then now we wanted to touch, and I'm sure as we talk, it's going to be like, well, that could be another podcast. That could be Optimism. So how do you keep a hopeful, good outlook as you continue? Because, every year just brings a roller coaster for everybody.
Well, you never know.
Like some years are a little more stable, but there's always bumps in the road.
There are.
So how do you keep it going? So I just want to start off the definition of optimism. Hopefulness and confidence about the future or the successful outcome of something.
Yes.
And I like that, it's hopefulness, but that extra word of confidence.
Confidence.
You believe it.
So I have a quote that I really liked from Winston Churchill.
Okay.
He said, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. Mm-hmm. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty."
Nice. I like it.
And
it kind of gets to that glass half empty, glass half full mindset too. Yeah. With that quote.
Yes.
And I've always been glass half full. I've never that's just who I am.
Yes.
And I think part of it does have to do a little bit with just who you are, whether you tend, and just how your brain works and how you see the world. But I think it's also something that you can create a mindset for.
I think you work on it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And you begin to see, and we talked last week about the motivation of building on those successes. And so when you begin to focus on, I was so fretful about this and look how it turned out, may not have been what I planned, but look how it did. Look at the positive of how it turned out and how it did. And we keep remembering those and building those, then we can too change our outlook a bit.
Definitely.
I think.
And and just like with any other we've talked before about having positive outlooks and what, positivity does for your mental health, for your physical health, same thing with optimism. Like it helps build your self-esteem. It helps build your confidence. It helps, you have a better outlook on life. And so automatically that even gives you health benefits, gives you mental, all that stuff. And so being an optimist can be good for your health.
It certainly can. And I think one of the things I was looking at said optimists are likely to see the causes of failure or negative experiences as temporary rather than permanent.
Yeah, and you don't get sucked into that hole.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is, and
yeah, there can be stuff on the other side.
Yeah.
So I really want to dive into how we can be optimists. And for me, I really see it as I can be optimistic a lot of times just through my faith, like through my spiritual, through my relationship for me with God. Like that's where I'm coming from. And so that's a lot of times when life is really hard. It's like, okay, I can't see the end, but something else can. Yeah. And so I just have to keep with my hopefulness in that. And so what are some ways we can find because I think at this point with the year of this podcast, everyone can be spiritual and pretty much there's something there and everybody somehow can feel it. So how can we find this optimism through like our spirituality, not necessarily religion. We're not going to like pigeonhole it, but through this higher being, I'm
going to start somewhere else.
Okay.
I mean, it's there, but I think optimism, there's a couple things.
Okay.
First is it's not a Pollyanna optimism.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be good and joy, and
all the time. Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Optimism, I saw a term of yin and yang of optimism, the optimism in reality. Okay. Mm-hmm. If my house is on fire, I'm not going to pretend it's not going to burn.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, okay, you look at the reality.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that's there's no hope in things.
Yeah.
Right? There's neighbors that come. There's, you see things. I'm thinking about right now, the wildfires going on.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's not Pollyanna.
Yeah.
It's not unrealistic. It's looking at reality and finding that there is good and there is. And so some of that is our outlook, right?
Yeah.
If I look at the whole of something, it looks really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I just turn on the evening news.
Oh, gosh.
They start with bad news all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
And, it's okay. But look who came to the help of people. Look who did, you can find other things.
Yeah.
And I've been on some difficulties that have lasted years.
Yeah.
But I always held out hope. And I think hope and optimism,
they kind of go together.
They kind of go together. And my faith then, as you were talking, does come into that. There's something bigger.
Yeah.
And I can trust God, I can trust the universe, I can trust that there's interconnectedness of all things and all beings. And if we look at nature, we can see a lot of optimism. Yes, I'm not getting into the environmental crisis because that's real.
Yeah.
But what I'm also talking about that when we destroy things, when these wildfires come through, restoration does come. It comes slowly and it comes later, but we can see that and things that have happened in Colorado and Wyoming and other fires, that there is a restoration that comes. And so I think we can look toward that when you see a weed coming through the crack in the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's true.
That always boggles me.
Yeah.
When you see things coming up that shouldn't be. So we can look toward that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and all of your plants that you don't take care of, but then they still somehow survive.
That one little sage thing got some red on it still, and it's freezing outside.
It's so funny.
But so if that makes sense.
It does, and I think, especially just coming from people my age, it is absolutely, it can be so heavy just seeing all of the obstacles in the world. Like, am I going to get shot, or is Charles going to get shot at school? What is the environment going to do? What is the stock market going to do? What can we count on? You know, like there's not it just gets heavy. So keeping that optimism, you know, it can be difficult, but I think, yeah, it's finally like the small good things and then just hoping it all adds up, you know?
Yes, and making your contributions because it is hard for your generation. I'm not going to say things aren't.
Yeah.
Everything in history cycles and
Yeah,
everything has had their
does.
times.
Yeah.
You know, and they've been yucky and scary before, and they will be yucky and scary again.
Yeah.
And somehow, you know, you can read about prisoner of wars and what they went through and how what kept them going.
Yeah.
And usually it boils down to some kind of relationship and love and family and somebody beyond themselves. Maybe it's the next guy in the next cell that they're tapping to. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, some of that went on.
Yeah,
But it can be overwhelming, and I can look at everything bad, or I can look and see the positive in it too.
Yeah.
And not that, you know, in some of the things, and again, this is the memory part where they didn't turn out as I wanted and as I was hoping and wanted.
Yeah.
But they turned
Still
out
good.
and it was really good and probably better than what I wanted. Mm-hmm. But the struggle of getting there and being patient and going this too, everything, nothing is permanent. That's scary, but it's also positive.
Yeah.
Because this too, I know you hate cliches, but this too
You
shall pass.
pass.
It will.
Yeah.
And Julian of Norwich, you know, she writes, and if you ever look at some of her writings, one of her most famous quotes is, "And all will be well, and all will be well, and all will be well." Doesn't mean it is well right now.
But it will be. Yeah.
It will be. Mm-hmm. And especially if we look for it.
Yeah.
If we look for it, I've yet to hear of people who have gone through difficult times that didn't have people that showed up, that didn't have a spark that kept them going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
And I think, I think it's, people see optimism and then I think some will jump to that toxic positivity. It's like, well, how can you be optimistic? But it's not really, I don't think that's really optimism.
No.
You know, I think there is this balance of understanding reality.
Yeah.
And having that understanding and then still being able to find something for yourself.
You know? Yeah. And the Dalai Lama wrote, optimism does not mean being blind to the actual reality of a situation, which we've talked about. It means maintaining a positive spirit to continue to seek a solution to any given problem. Yeah. And I think, I'm going to wade in a little bit here, but I think it's that positive spirit that we find lacking a lot.
Yes.
It's more of, rather than a positive spirit, it's an angry spirit out of fear of what is happening.
Yeah.
No matter what your political or other bent, religion or whatever bent is, you know, it's the lack of the positive spirit.
Yeah.
The uplifting one of, well, this is hard. What am I going to do? How am I going to move in this world?
Yeah.
Now, I think I come back to that a lot. But it's true.
It's true. And it's so easy to get paralyzed, you know?
By fear. And fear often comes through as anger.
Yep.
And anger can be paralyzing and it can be detrimental to your health and your mind and everything else.
I mean, yeah. So do you have well, I guess you've kind of mentioned you've had some personal experiences of years of having to go through and be optimistic and try and find that. Do you remember what you tended to draw on?
There were a couple things.
Yeah.
One is, so stupid. I believe the good in everybody.
Yeah.
And I believe that who you were created as, there's this gem in there. And when somebody's working to discover that, they'll find it.
Yeah.
And so I hold out hope for that, right?
Yeah, that they'll
And
do the process,
I think even my relationship with my older brother has blossomed.
Yeah.
And we butted heads all along.
Yeah.
Probably from the minute I was born. I don't know. But we have butted heads. It's our
Well,
personalities.
you came on his
and we're
birthday,
different.
right? So
Yeah,
absolutely.
kind of spoiled his party on his fourth when he was 4.
Four,
And
yeah.
so, but we've come, I don't know how, but I know I kept wanting, soften me. It's half of it's me.
Yeah.
And we're where we're at, and we respect each other, and we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't
know,
fight so much.
And
yeah.
so, and there's other people that I have, that have had struggles, and and I just believe in that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it really burns me. I get burned.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because I can handle that fire.
Right.
Because I'm gonna let love win. And I'm gonna let my belief in goodness win.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let myself be a doormat.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a difference. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm gonna lay myself out.
Yeah.
And go, well, this is my life.
Because you can still
Just
have
step on me.
boundaries, but still have
Yes.
hope from a distance.
I can still have, exactly. Because I want the best for this world, my community, and beyond, right?
Yeah.
So you do hold out hope. I do hold out that, and I think when people rant, oh my gosh, on Nextdoor or wherever else they rant, I think, what angry, I wonder what spurs them so deeply that they've been so sour, rather than thinking, if somebody else had a bad day and they didn't pick up their dog's poop, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have to rant because
about it.
Or somebody, it's just interesting
Yes.
how, and I just think, they're throwing their negativity out there. And I hope I find a safe place to throw my negativity, like in a rubber room where it just bounces around, then I can leave or something. I don't know.
Yes.
But it is, and again, when we think of how big everything is.
Yeah.
But if I bring it down to me and my world,
Yeah.
and how can I be positive and what can I do,
Yeah.
then I can see that's where the optimism comes from. I can't change something that is so far away.
Yeah.
I can pray. I can, there are organizations that you can donate to. There's things that you can do.
Yeah.
But so you can do what you can do where you are.
Yeah.
And that brings optimism. Now, when it comes to like football teams, I really want to hold out hope for you, Patriots, but
I got a new coach coming. It's okay.
yeah, that's what they say. There's
That's what they say.
who's a good, and I'm sorry for the Dallas Cowboy fans out there, because
You've had a rough time.
optimism.
Oof.
That's
hard to
may
keep.
that may be, yeah. See how long you can keep it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
But anyway, I'm just teasing. So there's realistic and
There is
unrealistic.
Yes.
No.
That's so good. Yeah, and I do think there's a lot out there, like, I guess, kind of being promoted of, this like almost toxic positive, because I think in a way, sometimes you can be that positive, but it's like coping in a way to just not face, what's really happening.
Yeah. Yes, because it's looking at something, this is painful, this is not good for me or good for society or whatever it may be. Saying that's not being pessimistic, it's being real. You're looking at it in reality, but you also say that this is not forever.
Yeah.
And there shifts can be made, and there are things that cycle constantly.
Yes.
The pendulum constantly swings. And it reaches a middle, and then it swings some more. But whatever that is, and one of the things that I would say is, I'm a big visual person.
Yeah.
So find what is your symbol. What is your symbol for optimism or hope? And the other thing, okay, we hadn't mentioned this, but to me, optimism requires trust.
Oh, yes. So hard
It
to
really
go.
require. I started thinking about that, and it was like, well,
Yes.
optimism. How can you be? Because I trust the future. I trust in a God, or I trust in this universe and this spirit
Yeah.
that truly strives toward harmony.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I trust in. And when it doesn't come out as it planned, or if I blow it, or whatever happens,
Yeah.
okay, then what next? In a positive way versus what next now,
Yes.
and being able to find a little bit of humor in those things.
That's hard.
But trust, it really comes to trusting something greater, and
That's hard to cultivate for sure.
it truly is. We talked about forgiveness. I can't do that on my own either. I've got to have something greater than me to help. So,
Oh, that's so
trusting in
good.
that.
It's trusting in the future. Yeah.
It is. And looking around and having people around you that are positive, that can lift
that's
you
the
up,
thing too.
versus
You
you
don't
can
wanna
have a
be
whole bunch
fighting.
of ranters around, and
Yes.
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you don't want to be fighting more battles than you have to. You know?
No, because if everybody's negative,
Then you're gonna. I mean, absolutely, you're gonna be negative.
But
it's
I
contagious.
truly believe darkness. No, where's that quote? Darkness does not overcome light. There's always, for me,
Yeah.
and there are people, and I get this very strongly.
Who don't believe that? Yeah.
Well, and that there are moments when they cannot see the darkness.
Or the light.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm
they're-
sorry. But there are people that cannot see light. And in that moment, I pray they have somebody. And if they don't, there's a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
And resources, and we'll post that on
yeah.
our thing. But because there,
Yeah,
when you can't see the light,
Yeah.
even though I always believe it's there, it's like, oh, what is that sun? The sun's there even when you can't see it shining.
Oh, nice.
It is always there.
Yeah,
It is.
that's true.
It's dark as heck out,
Yeah.
but the sun
And it's still shining. Yeah.
is still shining.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
That's so
I thought I had a
good.
quote in here somewhere about that. But anyway, that's
It's just-
basically it.
Like, yeah, I think unless you have people in your life you can go to, or if you have, this just extra belief, like, there are definitely times where I feel like I'm just sitting in this darkness,
Yeah.
and I like the idea of cultivating the trust in the future. And then
In the future. Yeah.
and then that can kind of be my point of optimism.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you've had moments in the past
Yeah.
where it was hard, and then, well, it came out, and
Yeah.
and it's not just sitting waiting for it. We do have to
No.
work. We
Yeah.
do have to do something. We
Yeah.
have to move. Sometimes it is sitting that we need to do so that we can get some clarity within.
Yes,
But,
that's true. Yeah.
but there is that hope, and maybe there's a song
Yeah.
that you need. What is that? Oh God, who was it? Katy Perry song
I don't know.
that was like the fighter song.
Firework?
Is that one? There's two. That one. Anyway, there's a couple songs that I swear, anytime I hear them, it's yes, I'm a fighter. I got this.
Yes. Oh, this is my fight song?
This is. Yes.
I don't know. I forget the name of the person that sings it.
Yeah, I do
Yes,
too.
fight
But
song.
this is my fight song. Yeah, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
find that
Yeah.
and pump yourself up with it, and know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are more people rooting for you
Yes.
than against you.
That is,
People
definitely
want
true.
goodness. They because
Yes.
that means it
That's
surrounds
how I
them.
got through like almost all of my piano juries and is knowing, like, because even the professors out there, like, because your jury, whenever you play your jury, is no audience. You walk on stage, it is silent, and your teachers are just sitting out there in the dark.
and they're there.
And you know they're there, and maybe they might say a hi, but that's about it, and you just play.
Yeah.
And it's slightly terrifying, but every time my amazing teacher, Dr. J. McGraw, she'd be like, "We're out there listening for the good. We're out there listening for you to do well.
Yeah.
They want you to." And then same thing. My recitals, all of the people out there were my friends and family. They absolutely wanted me to do well.
Yeah.
And I must I messed up a couple of times in my recital, you know,
Yes.
but you just keep going. And that always is what got me through. Is like,
That's
they want
good.
me to do well.
See, there, you know what? There's this, there's a book, old as can be, and I don't even know if it's published anymore, and I don't know where I have it, but it was called Balcony People. It was some,
Balcony people. Huh.
yeah, and it basically is who are the people up there in your balcony cheering for you. They may not be with us anymore.
Yeah.
My grandmother is my biggest cheerleader. She's no longer with me, but she is with me. You know, and
that's
it's like,
good.
who are your balcony people?
I like them.
Seek them out when you need them too, and just imagine them there going, go on, you got this.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's such a good image.
Isn't it? And so find images that help you, that, you know, nurture your
The positivity.
optimism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. So,
And I do have a poem.
oh, good. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's called, and I can't find the author. Anyway, I'll do the link. Seedlings Promise. In barren soil, a seedling breaks through, defiant green against the brown. A testament of life's persistence, nature's hope, wearing a leafy crown. Roots dig deep, seeking nourishment, in a world that seems devoid of care. Yet somehow, some way, it finds its strength to reach towards the sun, to grow, to dare. This tiny plant, so fragile, so small, carries the weight of tomorrow's dream. A forest lies dormant in its cells, more powerful than it may seem. In its struggle, we see our own, the will to thrive against all odds, a reminder that even in darkness, hope springs eternal, defying the gods.
That's a good image too.
Isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not going to read this whole poem, but I would encourage you to look up, it's called The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. And it just ends with this line. Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life.
I like it.
Optimism.
That's so good.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
it's not Pollyanna.
No, but it's
realistic. And it's looking for the good and believing deeply. And that's where my faith comes in, deeply in the good.
Yeah. Love it.
Deeply.
So hopefully we've zapped you with some positivity.
Yes.
For this, new year coming up. We're still planning out kind of what we're doing, but we've got some good.
Oh, we've got some great things
good
in
ideas.
February, and
then March we should have possibly another book interview. Like it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
So stick with us for another journey through this year together. Yes, and please always, we love to hear from you. You can always email us at incompleteguide@gmail.com. We've got our Instagram, an incomplete guide, and we have our website, and there are always resources from our episodes, either in our podcast notes on your platform or also on our website anytime. So
we look forward to next week when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us, and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.